Hi, everybody. It's Friday. I sound like that horrible girl. What was her name? Friday. It's Friday. Nobody
I was going to
remembers
guess
these.
Elizabeth Warren.
No. The pop singer, 13-year-old girl who sang.
I know who you're talking about.
Rebecca Black.
Rebecca Black. Well, leave it. Oh, you got the last name right, Roxanne. Congratulations. Damn, I lobbed one out there for you.
You didn't need Google for that one, did you?
I know about the blacks.
All right. So, hello to Jake Miller. Hi, all. And there's Brittany saying, hey, y'all. I'm going to restart my laptop. Hey, y'all. All right. Today it was an interesting day in sports because nothing happened. And, you know, I can go really any number of ways with this. But the way that I'm choosing to go with this is just to talk about reviews of pornographic films. All right. The first one I wanted to mention was one of my favorites. It was based, it's called, I'm reading this, Not So Tiny Tim. That was one of my favorites. Here's another one. A Few Men Too Many. Okay, forget it. No, we're going to talk about.
When you were a kid, in order to look at that, you had to draw it.
Yeah, that's right. I
in
mean,
the dirt.
Yeah, I mean, or you had to go under the mattress or the closet and find your father's Playboy stash. You know, now you can just go right on there and go to Roxanne's favorite site, BigNaturals.com.
Visit another cave.
That's Roxanne's favorite site, BigNaturals.com. It's just, you know.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a doll fetish, didn't you know?
All right. At any rate.
Yeah. How many of those dolls are special dolls?
They have attachments.
You mean the kind that you like?
No, I'm not the one who collects 4,000 dolls here. And I don't put them out on YouTube. I just make crappy sports videos. You put out doll videos. Who's worse?
I hate to disappoint you, Derek, but I do not have any blow-up dolls.
I'll tell you.
I'm sure you do.
I'll tell you, Rebecca Black is attacking. It's Friday. All right. You know, how hard is it to win in pro sports? You know, I'm one of these people who, having been a business person, and I would have people come to me and say to me, gosh, you know, you really did some really good things. And I say, really, let's analyze what I did and what I didn't do. What does it really take to win in business? So I decided to start looking some things up. And what jarred this was an ESPN.com article that was entitled "How the Lakers Wasted Year One of LeBron." All right, and it goes into all kinds of comments, but this is the one that absolutely floors me to this day, and that was the 4-year, $64 million deal they gave Timofey Mozgov, former Cleveland Cavalier. All right, and it's remarkable that Timofey Mozgov never even played. He just sat on the bench and waved a towel. That's all he did for $64 million. And people ask themselves, well, what happened to the Lakers? And it's like, well, a bunch of Timofey Mozgov type deals. I mean, you know, when you lose Randall to the New Orleans Pelicans because you don't sign him, and what you would rather sign than him is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, I mean, you're brain damaged because the rest of the money you were supposed to pay Randall went to Rajon Rondo. Now, why would you want to have Pope and Rondo instead of the young Randall? Well, it's because they were bringing LeBron in, and Randall plays that position allegedly. But it never pays to get rid of a productive player to get two shitty old players who are hurt all the time. If you look over and over again at what the Lakers did, it's not how they wasted year one with LeBron. It's been a series of things that they've done that have just been bad mistakes.
And they were way overhyped too.
Well, but I mean, that didn't change their performance. Their performance sucked because the personnel sucked because of the decisions that were made.
Yeah, but when you bring in LeBron, they had an well, not everybody, but most fans had an expectation of the hype, just like us with OBJ. They had the expectation of, oh, we're going to the playoffs. We're the Lakers.
Expectations. Fans live for expectations. But the bottom line is, I say you could become a decent organization just by not making abysmal errors. All right? Here's another thing. Here's an article called Cleveland Indians, the problem facing owner Paul Dolan. All Paul Dolan has to do is look in the fucking mirror. Just look in the fucking mirror to face the problems he's got. This does not take a genius to figure out. You can make all the excuses about baseball and how it's all large market related and how all the big stars go for the big money to the biggest cities and there's no salary cap and all those things. But here, let me tell you about when the Indians spent big money, like re-signing Travis Hafner, remember? Or re-signing Jake Westbrook, remember? Or how about that big Nick Swisher deal? Or how about Michael Bourne from Atlanta? And how about 5-year, $52 million investment in Jason fucking Kipnis? You don't want to believe me? Well, keep listening. How about CC Sabathia? You accidentally got Michael Brantley, who was the throw-in in the deal, and you thought Matt Laporta was going to be a star. You gave away CC Sabathia for Matt Laporta.
Or bringing in David Justice.
I mean, there is a never-ending Cleveland Indians kind of thing that has led the Indians to be a not very good organization. All right? Here's some, and you'll notice a pattern in this because I want to tie this in with Northeast Ohio sports. Remember, we're asking, how hard is it to win in professional sports? 1989, the Indians acquired Sandy Alomar Jr., Carlos Baerga, and Chris James for Joe Carter. That's 1989, folks. All right? You know what shortly happened afterwards with the Cleveland Indians. But to make it clear, they acquired Kenny Lofton and Dave Rohde from Houston for Willie Blair and Ed Taubensee. So basically, Alomar Baerga and Lofton, that's over a 2-year period, and they got rid of Joe Carter, who did have a big moment, granted, for Toronto, and Ed Taubensee, who never played again, and Willie Blair, who nobody even remembers who in the fuck he is. All right? How about Omar Vizquel in 1993 for Felix Fermin and Reggie Jefferson? Remember that great deal? So we get Omar Vizquel, a guy who really should be a Hall of Fame shortstop in 1993. That's 4. Okay? So you're wondering, what did the Indians do besides that? Well, they just didn't fuck up. They made some good trades, and they just didn't fuck up. And that led to the whole 1995, 96, 97, 98, 99 Indians, right? How did the Cleveland Indians keep it going beyond like the 5 years that teams usually have as a window? Well, they got Brandon Phillips, Grady Sizemore, Cliff Lee for Bartolo Colon and Tim Drew, who, I mean, that's 2002. I mean, and then even in 2006, we got Shin-Soo Choo and Scott Nottingham for Ben Broussard. All right? When did things start going bad for the Cleveland Indians?
When they killed Chief Wahoo.
No, because you're too young to remember. The Indians gave Brandon Phillips away to Cincinnati for Jeff Stevens. What the hell? That's Eric Wedge shit, folks. That's called let's not play the Negro. Now, Eric Wedge is a racist. Eric Wedge is the only guy who turned Ichiro into a loser. Eric Wedge. The Indians, then, like I mentioned before, they traded Sabathia for Matt Laporta. What kept the Indians out of contention for a short while in the late 90s? Well, sending Brian Giles to Pittsburgh for Ricardo Rincon might have had something to do with it. Or how about getting rid of Jay Bell to Pittsburgh for Felix Fermin? Oh, that's what we needed, Felix fucking Fermin. And Jay Bell goes on to have a good career with Pittsburgh.
Hey, Mr. Moohead.
Hey, what's up?
Are you excited that we have 11,830 Major League Baseball games to determine playoff seeding, and we're only in day 2 of the coverage?
No. What coverage are you talking? I'm not covering that. I'm talking about something entirely different.
No, but I'm just saying a long, lustrous, never-ending marathon of baseball.
That's why I'm not talking about it. But what I am talking, but indirectly, if you watch the Indians' road opener and they scratched out 2 hits, and you wonder why Paul Dolan, where does Paul Dolan need to look for his problems? Well, how about the 9 people he's putting on the field? Guy counts on, we got Lindor, and we got Ramirez, and they're injured. Of course they're injured. And you want to know, teams that do stupid things end up shitty teams. Do you see where the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Pittsburgh Pirates can't get out of their own damn way. Did you see that Lonnie Chisenhall's injured again?
Oh, boy.
Yeah. They went ahead and paid fucking Chisenhall, 31 years old. The first thing he does is get injured. You're dumb fucks. When you do stuff like this and you pay free agency money for people who don't play because they're hurt all the time, you're a dumb fuck.
And you can say the same in every sport. Everybody who's got a high injury risk, you got to be extremely careful.
Yeah.
It's, to me, such an obvious thing. Well,
Mr. Moohead, nothing to surprise you. I was talking to fans, people the other day that were into baseball that were unaware of the home opener last week during the spring training. They're like, what? I said, yeah, Oakland and Seattle played in Japan. They're like, really? I thought it was still spring training. I'm like, no, the season started within spring training. And they're like, really?
That's a lot of people don't care.
Right. Let me go and talk about the Cleveland Browns.
Yes, please.
No. This is the same subject. Everybody's hailing John Dorsey as a genius. Okay? I used to hear the same bullshit about myself in the radio business, and it was bullshit. I was no fucking genius. How bright could I be if I was only in Binghamton, New York, and Flint, Michigan? How much of a fucking genius could I have been? Not to mention Danville, fucking Illinois. How about in 2004, trading up from number 7 and number 6 to get Kellen Winslow Jr.? Remember that amazing pick? How about trading down from number 12 for Cameron Wembley at number 13 and passing on Haloti Nagata? How about that? How about trading 2 picks to get back in the first round to get Brady Quinn? How about that?
Just lovely.
How about trading down from number 6 for nose tackle Phil Taylor at number 21? Get rid of the 6th pick and get Phil fucking Taylor. They passed on Julio Jones to do it.
Those were the good old days, right?
Well, I'm going to ask questions after
when
this.
you put your head through the wall.
You trade up from number 4 for running back Trent Richardson at number 3.
AAF star, man.
No, hey. Yeah, it's how about trading down from number 4 and then up from 9 to get Justin Gilbert at number 8? There's a circuitous route, but of course you forgot to take Sammy Watkins or Khalil Mack, and instead you ended up with Justin Gilbert. How about trading up from number 26 to get to number 22 and Johnny fucking Manziel? How about trading down from number 2 for wide receiver Corey Coleman at 15? That's really smart. Because they passed on Carson Wentz.
Yeah, but I think we can say, as many years as it did suck not having a quarterback, I think we all gotta admit there is kind of a little bit of a payoff here after suffering. Now we got Baker Mayfield.
Well, but this is what I'm trying to mention. Why were the Cleveland Browns losing? All right. Is it that John Dorsey is a genius? Or is it that he's just not making these incredibly glaring errors? For example, keep going. Now, how about Cleveland Browns free agency? Well, we can start with LaCharles Bentley. LaCharles, who's a cunt, personally, and I'll take every shot at him I can because he's a prick. He never even got to play a game because his knee went.
Yeah, he got hurt in practice, right, in 2006.
That's right.
Like first day, I felt bad for the guy, man. He got wheeled off.
How about don't feel bad for him? He's an asshole. Laugh at him. Laugh at him. All right. Tramon Williams, the cornerback. He was a Pro Bowl player in 2010. The Browns give him a 3-year deal worth $21 million. Remember those good old days? Yeah. He never did anything. Never did anything. How about Ben Tate, the running back? Remember the backup for your Houston Texans?
Yeah, I remember that.
Ben Tate landed with the Browns. He was not good at all. 8 games, 333 yards. He then got pissed off because the Browns really were splitting his carries, so the Browns cut him. He had 13 carries the rest of his career. Thank you very much.
Ouch.
How about Willis McGahee? I don't even want. I mean, some of these names you're not even going to remember because Gary Baxter, the Baltimore Raven, remember? Oh, he was an All-Pro. Yeah, we got him, and you know what happened to him. 2 patellar tendons ripped in his knee, never able to play again. These are glaring errors. How about RG3? I knew he couldn't play quarterback. Brandon Howard's the only guy who thought he could because, well, RG3's black and so is Brandon. Brandon thinks every black man can be a quarterback in the NFL.
Well, Hugh Jackson did co-sign with RG3, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, look.
And Lamar is the new RG3.
Yeah. But I'm not giving Brandon Howard a pass for being an absolute racist. Absolute racist. Absolute racist.
He'll burn in hell.
No. The bottom line is, there's no reason why a black man can't be a great Hall of Fame quarterback. But it isn't based on the fact that he's black, folks. It's based on the fact that he's skilled.
But to be fair, a lot of the white quarterbacks y'all had weren't exactly impressive either.
They're dead. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. Do you remember Ross Verba, the offensive tackle for the Browns? Oh, yeah. He came from the Packers, where he was good. He came to Cleveland. The guy was just like a turnstile, letting people into the quarterback. The amazing Ross Verba. Does anybody remember that Dante Stallworth was a Brown? Oh, but he was.
Oh, I liked him when he was a Raven.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal with him. Everybody remembers that he was successful as hell. Then, of course, he came to Cleveland. 7-year deal with $35 million. He had 10 catches and 170 yards. He was suspended the next season after killing a pedestrian while under the influence. Great. Isn't that great?
Well, and you could say the same thing with, like, recently with Tyrod Taylor. All you heard in the offseason was he took the Bills to the playoffs. Guess what? How did that work out?
Well, wait,
Steven, what the hell are you doing?
Well, you're totally going sideways on the show. I will continue. Jake Delhomme, quarterback. I don't even have to say anything more about 35-year-old quarterbacks who come to Cleveland. And now we're getting to the fun ones. Dwayne Bowe, wide receiver. We'd have been better off with Riddick Bowe as a wide receiver. Kenny Britt, wide receiver. we'd have been better off with Bronk from Britain. Any Brit than
I remember
Kenny
when
Britt.
Dwayne Bowe pulled a LeBron James. He stood on like 20 feet from the sideline in one of the games, and they showed the camera on him.
Yeah. I mean, what an
And
asshole.
Britt was supposed to be the veteran who steps in and was the leader of the receiving corps. Nope.
Jeff Garcia, quarterback. The guy
Mo.
who literally refused to assist younger quarterbacks get better. And how about the all-time worst, Andre Rison? Yes. But at least he still lives, and the woman who burned his house down is dead. But that's all the good things you can say about Andre Rison.
What year did Andre Rison go to Cleveland?
He played in Cleveland, I want to say in 94?
93, 94.
Yeah.
Hey. Speaking of Browns quarterbacks, I don't mean to interrupt, but did you see the lovely Johnny Manziel made his debut in the AAF?
Well,
How did he do?
Who gives a fuck about that?
How did he do?
I don't know. I think he was only in for a couple of plays. I just seen he had his debut. I think he had like one running play and like a 10-yard passing route. Whatever.
Oh, but if you want to hear what the Cleveland Indians did for free agency, for all the talk of idiot Dolan, okay?
And he is an idiot.
And he is an idiot. The Cleveland Indians can't afford a lot of big name players. We know we're a mid-sized market. We get sick and tired of being reminded of the fact that we're that. But that isn't the reason we don't win. The reason we don't win is because these people get consistently, this organization gets lousy players.
Yep.
I mean, we already talked about Michael Bourne. What about David DeLucci? We gave him 3 years and $11.5 million, folks. How about Blackjack McDowell?
Wayne Garland, dude, man.
Wayne Garland, yes.
Not to change it up on you guys. Who's pitching for tomorrow?
Yeah, you changed it up on me, and I don't have the answer
Probably
because
Bauer.
yeah, probably Bauer. Thank you. Keith Hernandez in 1989. I don't hit change ups. I just let them go by. Keith Hernandez, 1989. He was 36 years old. He could not walk anymore. And the Indians gave him a $3.5 million contract. How about Masahide Kobayashi? Remember him? 34-year-old Japanese guy? My God. He was slower than David Carradine. How about Brett Myers in 2013? I thought Brett Myers was a wrestler. I don't even remember Brett Myers.
Oh, he
was
was
in
in
the
Philly.
Halloween
The Astros
movies.
brought him in for a year. Yeah.
My God, he was 0-3 with an 8.02 earned run average. Dave Winfield, 43 years old. Yeah, he hit 191 in Cleveland. Oh, Bronx favorite, Jose Jimenez.
Jose Jimenez. I love him, man.
Hey, Mr. Moothead, at the rate you're going, the Indians may sign you after the show. So don't hold your breath.
Yeah, exactly. There's always a
I'll
chance.
be pitching on Sunday.
Yeah. To
They
me,
pay injured players. How's that knee holding up?
yeah, exactly. There's hope for me, isn't there? But
On that rate, you're looking at a big contract just because of that injury. That's an extra $5
They
million.
may call you at the show. They're like, "Hey, dude, we don't have any pitchers. Are you going to pitch on Sunday?"
No, he'd be the cow out in the outfield eating the grass.
Yeah, I mean, they always have. Then there's the good trades that the Indians make, and whenever the Indians made a few good trades, the team got better. When they did these horrible things, they got worse. The Browns is exactly the same thing. So now you have John Dorsey, and John Dorsey. I mean, let's look at Nick Chubb as a pick, okay?
Yeah.
Everyone said that he was the second best running back in the draft, okay? This is not like he plucked him out of absolute obscurity. Nick Chubb was the second best running back according to everybody. Everybody. They said that Saquon Barkley was the best and that Nick Chubb was the second best.
Some people thought that Geis, whatever his name is, the one who went to Washington. Some people
Yes.
thought he was second best too.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, so it was 2/3. But I mean, does that make John Dorsey a genius? There are those people who believe that Baker Mayfield was the real deal. I wasn't one of them. But it isn't like he plucked him out of obscurity. This is not Tom Brady in the 7th round. This is not that.
It was risky, though. I mean, when everybody's telling you Darnold every week, it was a little risky.
The reason it's risky is because every other quarterback this organization picked was a bow wow. That's what made it risky. It was sheer fear of the past.
I would have straight up jumped off the roof if we took Allen.
Well, but you know something? It would have been one more thing. All right. So he got it right. God bless him. He got it right. And it turns out that Baker Mayfield is a really fine quarterback. So he picked one of the people who was predicted to be one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in a pretty rich quarterback draft that year. And he chose one and he got it right. And I think that there were 3 who were really being talked about. So he had a 33% chance and he got it right. Okay. So what else did he do? What else did he do?
Denzel at 4.
He didn't draft a wide receiver, did he? But he didn't bring in Dwayne Bowe, did he? But he didn't even go after UDFAs, and so we ended up with a receiving core that forced Jarvis Landry,
Callaway, and then traded for Landry.
Yeah, but you know something? Callaway was horrible. Callaway was horrible to start the season. It really wasn't until he started playing with Baker Mayfield that he started doing well. My point is this. Jarvis Landry got double teamed because we didn't have a wide receiver because he didn't draft one, okay? I'm just...
How rich was the draft in receivers last year? It wasn't that big, was it? Well, I don't remember it being huge.
I'm saying choices that are made, all right? If you miss something, but don't do something absolutely egregious, you have a chance to win in professional sports. It's the teams that consistently do the stupid things that continue to lose. This is my point. It isn't that Dorsey hit 100%. It's like, wow, that's fucking amazing. Jannard Avery, that's a productive pick for where he was selected. Absolutely. But Desmond Harrison being told to start at left tackle, not so good. But Greg Robinson ending up at least being better than Desmond Harrison helped us. You see, it's one thing to say, we kind of took a chance on a guy who was inexperienced and maybe it didn't pay off. But there's a big difference between that and giving all of your money to Andre Rison and then having to move the team to Baltimore. Or saying that's the reason. And let's have a moment of silence while we all urinate on Art Modell's grave. All I'm saying is that in every example, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they draft Uncle Drew. They bring LeBron back in, free agency. Bingo. Years and years of entertainment, right? Then the exact opposite happened and said, we end up with Sam fucking Decker, right? I mean, is Dan Gilbert a genius? Fuck no. Did Dan Gilbert win a championship? Hell yeah. How did it happen? Well, he got a couple of good players and he was able to kind of surround him with a few others, and bingo. He had big momentum on his side, but when left to his own devices, he's just a little drunken Mick. That's what he is. He's taking him right back into the shitter again.
Gilbert was willing to pay loads and loads of luxury tax. What is Dolan's willing to do? Cut the payroll by $15 million.
I understand. But if you're spending all that money, that doesn't make you a genius if the best you can end up with is what we've had this year with the Cavaliers.
I'm not disagreeing.
Hey, Mr. Moohead, was it true that Kyrie Irving was supposed to be traded originally to the Suns and Gilbert wanted LeBron to sign a long-term deal, but he refused to do it?
Well, there's a lot of rumors. What I can tell you is the Cavaliers had a deal in place for Paul George, and the league basically nixed it.
Yeah.
Oh, who would y'all have to trade?
Paul George, no.
Say what?
Who would y'all have to trade to get Paul George?
Oh, it was ridiculous. It was dead giveaway. Dead giveaway. Yeah. It was nothing. It was nothing. The deal was signed.
Oh wow.
The deal was signed. They were the ones, the Indiana Pacers, who were contacted and told not to do it because they made a far worse deal to peddle him away. So the league stepped in and said, enough, Cleveland, already. Enough is enough. We're not going to enrich them more.
So Gilbert stuck his foot in his mouth when he originally told on the Lakers for that Chris Paul trade that would have happened to the Lakers and the Rockets.
Yeah, Dan Gilbert is an overly emotional man who has a Napoleon complex and drinks too much. I mean, the truth of the matter is that, you know, he's not going to go. I mean, look, Pat Riley can manage to keep the Miami Heat out of the playoffs, but at least winning 37 games a year. You know what I mean?
Well, Dan Gilbert did throw a monkey wrench because the Rockets would have gotten Paul Gasol in his prime. The Lakers would have gotten CP3 to help Kobe, and then the Hornets at the time in New Orleans would have gotten Scola, Courtney Lee, and like 4 other guys, including Lamar Odom when he was still decent. And I guess Gilbert got pissed off about it and told the league, and then the league stopped the trade.
Well, believe me, the league does what the league wants to do, not what Dan Gilbert wants to do. And I mean, if you don't have to believe me, you can just look at the Cavaliers keep winning during that period of time, the number 1 pick and all, and wasting it on. Again, how brilliant can you be if you go with Anthony Bennett and Dion Waiters and all that shit? How brilliant can you be? But again, it is the big mistake that crushes you. I mean, what I like to think is that John Dorsey is the first solid general manager we've had in Cleveland since Ozzie Newsome.
Wow.
You know? Yeah. And now Chad, how you doing, Chad, by the way? Glad to see that Cory Booker has your number here. Yeah. He's afraid of Cory Booker.
He's in the pitch tomorrow, so I told him to lace up and get ready for the Indians game.
Let a black man run for president and the Republicans run for the hills. It's just amazing. Oh, he's saying, why was Chubb coming off a knee injury in the 4th picked running back a sure thing? I'm just telling you that people said he was the 2nd best running back.
Are you talking about Spartacus?
Spartacus? Who's Spartacus?
Cory Booker. Is it the same Cory Booker I'm thinking of?
No, it's a black guy who's running for president. Yeah.
He's not black. He's
okay. He's not black. I'm just making it all up. All right.
I'll look it up. I'll prove you wrong.
All right.
I thought he was black.
No.
Yeah, he was the mayor of what was it, Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah, you know who he is. All right. Rick May is in the chat room. Is Rick May?
Yeah, he said he couldn't get on.
Oh no, it was blocking him. You cock blocked him, Derek. That's just inexcusable.
According to Wikipedia, Cory Booker is black.
Yeah.
Every picture I seen of him was lighter.
Lighter? Overexposed? Underexposed? What?
He's still an idiot.
You know, of course, he's an idiot to you. You couldn't vote, thank God. But Trump is not an idiot.
No, I never said that. I said some things. I don't agree with Trump on some things.
Cory Booker isn't going to win the presidential nomination of the Democratic Party. All they have to do is bring up his record when he was the mayor of Newark. All they have to do. He ain't gonna get it done. You know, but what they do, whoever's on the
running though, that's unbelievable. How many people are running?
Well, it's like AOC, you know, 23-year-old girl. She's a millennial, for God's sakes, folks. She's 23 years old and she's part of the Congress, right?
Yeah.
But you know what's funny about it is all the Republicans are all over her like white on rice because, well, she's a face. You know, and the thing that kills me about this, do you honestly believe that AOC
and the $1 trillion deficit.
I want
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to ask a question.
Go ahead.
Does any woman in the Me Too movement out there honestly believe that AOC would be a name if she wasn't pretty? How is it that you fall for the shit that you say you're against? Where are the smart, ugly women? I know where the smart, ugly men are.
Yeah, Bernie.
Honest to God.
Most men are ugly anyway, so
Yeah.
I mean, I know where they all are. Do you remember Skip O'Neill?
They're on Moohead Radio. That's where they're at.
Damn straight. Dumb men.
if you want to see
Ugly
ugly
men.
men, you want to see ugly men, just go on CNN or Fox News. You'll see either one. Take your pick.
Well, here's the deal.
You
All
want
the
to see ugly
all
men
the
walk down the street.
Fox News women are all good looking, and they kind of sit there so you can halfway look up their skirts. And we wonder, what is the Me Too movement really about? Is it about looking backwards and accusing people of doing things from years ago, or is it really interested in bringing equality for women? Well, if you want equality for women, quit publicizing only the pretty ones. Goodness.
And be consistent, too.
I mean, I just, AOC is a 23-year-old woman, and she has no political experience. And if the Republican Party is so frightened by her...
Wasn't she a bartender, if I'm not mistaken, or is that somebody else?
Yeah, and Obama was a community whatever he was.
Well, he was a senator.
But no,
when he
for a
ran for
brief
president.
period of time.
Yeah, but at least he had some experience. I mean, she's just kind of...
Senate doesn't count as... That's practicing graft.
Yeah,
Find me
but
a
still,
long
AOC
tenured
practically
quit
just
interrupting
looked it
me.
up on YouTube.
I'm
Didn't he go to
muting him.
Harvard?
You know something? He's bright. I'm not saying these people aren't bright.
Stop
but
being a butt fuck.
all you have to do is go to Washington and be a senator for a long period of time, and you get bought and paid for. That's what it amounts to. So the less experience you have in that old boy system, the better off you are. I'm just pissed off because, why the Republicans get so upset at a 23-year-old woman is because she's a threat to them. Why is she a
Steve's
threat?
saying she's 29.
Oh, she's...
I don't know if that's true or not, but...
no, I think she's 23.
She's fucking 30.
Oh, 30? Whatever she is. Yeah.
She's gonna be 30 fucking years old. She's not 23.
Well, she's young. And she's got
her a fucking Tennessee asshole. She's a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, well,
Get
she's
better
whipping,
internet first.
yeah, she's whipping the llama's ass because the Republicans are frightened of her for whatever reason.
Well, nobody's scared.
Character assassination.
Nobody's scared of her. They're just
character assassination.
What it is really just stupidity on both sides. Nobody wants to come to an agreement. It's just kind of the blame game.
At any rate, back to my original premise of all of this. All right.
Let's get back to sports.
Yeah. And Rick May is saying, ugly men of the world unite. Absolutely. Hey,
we need to start our own movement.
Tony the Calf is in Las Vegas. There's a guy who said, I don't have a gambling problem. You know what the gambling problem is, Tony? It's losing. That's the gambling problem. If you're winning, you don't have a gambling problem. That's Chad, it says, I love getting Moo fired up. Yeah, it's fun, isn't it?
You're a puppet. Not in a bad way.
No. Hey, Chad has been a friend for a long time. We were both car enthusiasts, and we have many things in common. Politics not being one of them, but it's all good. It's all good. Oh, Booker called himself Spartacus during the Kavanaugh hearings.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, well, Booker is just another one of many bad choices, folks.
You got Spartacus and then Pocahontas, and
yeah, you have nicknames for all of them.
Choice.
Make up your own nicknames for these people. Don't steal.
Did you
Trump's.
see the nickname for what's his name? What's his name? I forget his name. Anyway, Trump called him Petzl Neck last night.
No.
You know who I'm talking about, don't you?
No.
Oh, he was the one behind the whole Russia conspiracy. I forget his name.
Timmy Bartholow. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. So at any rate, do I think
Move
John
on.
Dorsey is an absolute genius? No, I think he's experienced. And I think that he takes chances that are worth it. I think character issues are things that you kind of, if you're sitting at a number 5 pick situation and you want an impact guy, you take a shot at it. It might work, it might not, but you don't miss with the surefire high picks, you don't make stupid mistakes. Even if you don't get the ultimate superstar, if you get a productive player who has an 8-year career in the NFL, you've done very well. Sometimes it's about investing in a stock that's slow and steady as opposed to a high flyer.
And if you look at past drafts, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but if you look at past drafts, the idea of getting somebody who's even productive is not easy. 90% of these guys suck, even in the first round. So it's a very cream of the crop that you got to basically get lucky on.
Yeah, I mean, luck plays into it for sure. But now the Cleveland Indians are concerned because Francisco Lindor's ankle injury, they're getting a second opinion on it. And all of this, why does it happen? Because you have nobody else to put in the infield except a bunch of guys who God only knows, Eric Stamets, and God only knows who else there is, who can't play in the major leagues. And you didn't surround Lindor and Ramirez with anything at all. So it was waiting to happen. That's why you can't leave yourself threadbare in a situation like that. It's just, and what do they do? This is the other thing the Indians do. They knee-jerk by signing outfielder Cameron Maybin to a minor league deal. Yes, Cameron Maybin. Who could forget Cameron Maybin? 249 hitter, part-time player. This doesn't get the job done. And in baseball, where salaries are high, you're not going to steal players for cheap. It just doesn't work that way. You're in the wrong fucking business. Cleveland Indians, Leonys Martin on return to the big leagues. It was awesome, except if you are unable to cut a ball off that results in a 2-run ball that goes to the wall. It may have been awesome for Leonys Martin, but you know something? It wasn't awesome watching it, Leonys. Really. Yeah, you were a feel-good story until you fucked up. It's crazy. Corey Kluber throws one bad pitch and loses. Sound familiar? Do you know how many games Corey Kluber loses when he only gives up 2 runs or 1 run? It's way too many, folks. Corey Kluber would be an instant Hall of Fame pitcher and an MVP every single year. Every single year. If he played for a team that could score runs. In fact, you know what happens when they score more than 4 runs for him. He never loses. Never. Never. There's some crazy number. Like, I don't know how many games it is where they score that many. It's like 69 or some such crazy number. And he's never lost. Yeah, he makes 1 bad pitch. That's all it takes for him to lose. That's consistent. Now, the Cleveland Browns.
Who the fuck just posted in the chat room all these streams? Did you see that?
Live
don't click on that. I think that's viruses. Don't click on that.
Yeah. Somebody. Somebody's playing
spam.
around. Yeah, got to be spam. This is not a very good thing.
It's the Russians.
Yeah, the Russians are coming. The Russians are coming. Yeah. Yeah.
They found us.
Yeah. Well, this is very typical of what people do.
Yeah, it says Warriors Thunder live, but they don't play the Thunder. They've already played all 4 of their games, so that's a bot. Just ban it.
Bong.
Well, good thing we got you, Steven.
Yeah, 'cause I clicked on his channel. I went to his channel and it said live stream Warriors Thunder. I'm like, Warriors don't even play Thunder today, so I know that was bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Not sure. I don't think Kluber's ever won a season opener, Rick May. And there may be truth to that too. They just don't, Yeah. Rick May said Maben batted 163 in spring training. That's why we signed him. The Cleveland Browns, on the other hand, you make a few good picks, just like the Cavaliers got a few good players, and then things start falling into place. And there will be some good draft picks for the Cleveland Browns because he's steady. He's good at what he does. He's very competent. Does that mean that he's won a Super Bowl? No.
When is the draft?
April 24th.
End of the month. Yeah.
Okay, so we argumentatively got about a month left before the draft. I can't wait till the schedule comes out. I'm curious to know if they're going to schedule the Browns and Patriots for that Sunday night football game.
There's a lot of word.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of word about it. I mean, a lot of people talking, and my feeling is that the league does what's best for audience, and that's how they.
All right, Mr. Miller, can I ask you a question? Do you think it would be better? I know the NFL's been flirting with this idea. Do you think it would be better to have Friday night games instead of Thursday night?
Hell no. Hell no. Hell fucking no. High school football games. Let me tell you right now, there's a lot of people who are very devoted to high school football. And I'm not claiming to be a diehard high school football fan, but I'm just saying I know being in high school now that is like, no, it's off limits. There was NCAA talk with that too. No, stop. Don't do it.
NCAA does have some college games on Friday, very little bit, but they'll have like 4 or 5 meaningless games. But
I wanted to ask Roxanne something to get her involved in the show, if nothing else. Did you hear Stephen Rowe say, "Hey, Moohead"?
I didn't.
No, when he just asked this last question, he said, "Hey, Moohead, do you think that we should start playing NFL games on Friday instead of Thursday?"
I had zoned out.
Yeah, see, there you go. All right. I tried to answer it, and this has just become an edition of Frisbee Radio.
That is true.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Did you like the idea of the games on Friday?
No. Actually, Derek answered it better than I could.
Hey, glad we could be partners there.
I'm just envious because he had a better answer than I would have had.
The reason why I'm saying because Thursday's a short week. People complain that Thursday's a short week. Well, if you put Friday, that would add an extra day, right?
Well, but you know something? To me, Thursday night football gives football fans a separation, okay?
Okay.
Football fans are going to watch football on Sunday. All right. They're going to watch football on the Monday night game. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And Derek did bring up a good point. The Friday Night Lights phenomenon, high school football, is big. And then you have collegiate football on Saturdays. So, how much can you watch in succession? That Thursday kind of sits off in an island, and I think probably is something that kind of that the league just feels, that's a go-to night for football, and then everything else, high school and college, then the pros on Sunday.
Okay, how would you like the idea of a Monday night playoff game?
It's not, they could get big primetime rates, and I think that's what kind of dictates these things. Yeah. I mean, again, to me, anyone who wants to watch the NFL playoffs knows when they're on, they're going to watch it regardless of what day it's on. I mean, it's a good example. I didn't watch any of the NCAA. I just didn't watch any of the tournament. Didn't watch a single game.
Football or basketball?
Basketball. Didn't give a shit about it.
I still don't. I haven't watched that one game this year, and this is the first year I probably haven't watched it in like 8 or 9 years. That's how long it's been.
Just not exciting. It's just nothing to really recommend it to you. But it is nice to see that the AAF is going broke. Okay, all of
they've
these
been more successful than I thought they were. I thought they weren't even going to get off the ground. But,
yeah, but the guy who's the owner and the president of the whole thing says it's going to bust.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, it's going broke.
Hey, Vince McMahon, don't do the XFL, you dumbass.
It kind of sucks because we don't have 8 teams, so you can't get the whole nation involved with just 8 teams.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Yeah, they can't get any goddamn support from the NFLPA.
the thing is, the greatest hater of the NFL is Donald Trump. Okay, and that's because of what happened when he was involved in the USFL for a spell of time. The NFL,
the Bills, didn't he?
He tried to get the Bills, and the NFL rebuked him, and then he became embittered and has remained embittered toward the NFL to this day because that's the kind of guy he is. He's a prick. And then he, what did he do to the USFL? He bankrupted them. He single-handedly destroyed the USFL.
There's nobody who's going to get close to the NFL.
No,
there's nobody. It's sad because it's a lot of money wasted.
Well, it's just such a monopoly at this point.
Yeah.
And again, you can't go up against them. Football season is etched in our minds. Okay? Yeah. It begins in September and it goes through January and the playoffs and the Super Bowl.
And it's become like a tradition.
We're talking about it now.
Yeah, I mean, and it is an institution and so if you're going to compete, you have to immediately find yourself a season outside of the months. Yeah, I can't hear you, Brian.
Yeah, you're breaking up, Brian.
Brian, you're breaking up. Write it down. Write it down, Brian, because I want your point of view on this. But we're not able to understand what you're saying.
We get like 5 words, and then it's
yeah.
So just
but
text.
Yeah, I can't hear him either.
Yeah. Here's the deal. You gotta immediately become a spring league, okay? And the problem is then you're in the way of baseball fans, in the way of the NBA playoffs, and there isn't a hole for this, and the only one I want to do it is Vince McMahon because I want him to fail and I want him to also get cancer and die. Okay? Because
he needs to focus on what he's successful with. He's built the WWE as much up as it has been. Why would you take a big chunk of that to go fail when you've already failed first?
Well, I mean, with Vince McMahon, he bought out all of his competition. All right.
Oh yeah, with WCW, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's nobody else who can really contend other than now, but now it's kind of still monopoly, like you said, with the NFL. It's the same type deal with WWE.
Vince's big thing, if you could say the one big thing that he did, was he took his father's business and recognized that the regionalized wrestling business was not profitable and to consolidate it into national, right? That's Vince McMahon's one good idea. The rest was all vulgarity, excessive steroid use that led to the deaths, premature deaths of gazillions of wrestlers, safety issues that resulted in Owen Hart's death. There were so many things that have tainted McMahon and McMahon's own roid rage.
Benoit too.
Yeah, yep. And his own roid rage that you can see literally on film. If you want to look up the Bob Costas interview with him, you can see what roid rage is firsthand because he was a steroid abuser. I see nothing good about a guy like that. I want him to fail because he's got nothing.
Did you
good.
ever hear the story when Vince, I guess I heard the story on Vince's dad's deathbed. Vince's dad, I don't remember his name, but anyway, he basically said, make me one promise. I'll hand this over to you, but you got to promise me you will never get in the ring. And he said, yeah, that's fine. Guess what? The very next week or two, he's in the ring beating up guys with chairs. It's like, good Lord, Vince.
Whatever it took. I mean, what he did to Bret Hart is legendary. And I mean, he's just not a
he
good
likes
person.
Popularity.
Well, I mean, it's beyond that. He lies to people and he uses people and he's a manipulator, and it's fine. But again,
and he sticks with the same guys every time too.
If the USFL with the names they got, the Herschel Walkers, and the USFL kind of did it right. They got into the college draft. They got college players out of there to come to the USFL. Brian Sipe went to the USFL. The Doug Flutie, the USFL. There are all kinds of good players who were in the USFL. And basically, what the NFL did is they just waited it out until the money ran low, and then they just assimilated all those players into the NFL. I mean, it is really very hard to defeat the NFL in the game of football at this point. So,
they need to really use it like a farm program like they do with baseball. Because if you take the guys who are on your practice squad and you say, okay, well, you go to our, farm team, you would say, and then you let them build up and get experience, and who knows, maybe then you bring them up, but they're not doing it that way.
Well, but look, I mean, college football is much more resourceful
and exciting.
Well, it's more money making for the colleges, and they're not going to give that up to be farm for nothing. So there is no opportunity to have a farm league for football. It doesn't work that way. Basketball could be entirely different if it were structured a different way. But football, I mean, there's no way. I mean, you want to talk about an entrenched graft, college football is about the top of the pops. Without the World Football League, there would be no Kurt Warner. That's true. That's true, Brian. I mean, there are players who made their names playing, who is the guy who was the Tommy Maddox, the insurance salesman who went on to play in Pittsburgh, playing in low-level, half-empty stadiums in kind of Mickey Mouse leagues. There are players who will come from that background. But, arena football, arena football has survived. I don't know how profitable it is, but it's certainly not a threat to the NFL. It's these people who wait a sec. It's the people who go into this process who want to compete with the NFL and boldly say up front, we think we will put out as good or a better product than the NFL. Those people are really seriously convoluted.
There's a guy who goes to my church who played it. He was a linebacker at Toledo, and then he was a free agent in the NFL, was with the Browns for a period of time, and then he played in the Arena Football League. I can't remember what his name. It's Mike something. But anyway, so yeah.
Hunt?
No. Yeah, I know there's a connection there, but no. I forget his name. Anyway, just saying.
Yeah. Well, again, the whole point of the program today is the reason the Browns are looking good is because, first of all, you got the quarterback. Second of all, you got a good young running back. So you took advantage of the draft to get some solid performers. We're going to find out Austin Corbett. We're going to find out if that was a good draft pick or not, because now he's forced to prove what he's got. And with all the offensive linemen the Browns are bringing into camp, I'm not so sure how sure Dorsey is. Okay.
And you mentioned something in reference to the NFL being a monopoly. Mm-hmm. Do you see other countries possibly having NFL teams like London? Like, I mean, I know it's a city, but essentially, do you see like Mexico City or London or Toronto or Vancouver or any other popular cities that are in line with the U.S. that could possibly have a team in the next 5-10 years?
Honestly, I know the NFL's talked about expansion overseas, but, there's something uniquely American about a sport that causes brain damage. Something tells me that the European Union is not going to be real high on a game that just kills people by the time, on average, they're 57 years of age. To me,
but don't they have rugby?
But rugby doesn't kill people. Oh. Rugby, they're running around without anything on. Uniforms, they're not naked, but I mean, they don't have helmets. They don't have.
What is that, Robert Kraft's league?
Say what? I didn't hear what either one said.
I said, what is that, Robert Kraft's league?
Yeah, right.
Naked.
Yeah. I said, what about Toronto or Mexico City or Vancouver?
Well, I mean, it's always easier to get Canada into the picture because it's, geographically close. But, again, I just, as far as European expansion, like we're talking about, London or, In Mexico City, there'd be a chance because boxing is really big, and that's another big brain damage sport. So it could be really big in Mexico, I suppose. But they'd have to get some stadium that, you know, that's a little smaller than 120,000 people and has grass, you know, that actually stays on the field. But besides that, yeah, it could be done. But right now, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, you can get greedy and you can spread yourself too thin. And if you spread the talent too thin around the league, then, you know, you jeopardize the money-making nature of the enterprise. So I'm done with everything I wanted to say. But, you know, it's Cleveland fans, you should just be real happy that one of your teams is, it's not, and you can talk Super Bowl all you want. This is no guarantee. You know, the Cleveland Indians have had a couple of very good runs and they did not win the World Series. But you know something? I keep saying all you can ask for is entertainment. All you can ask for is that when you tune in, you feel your team has a real chance of winning and gives you that feeling of hope that things are going to be better. You know, that's what it is. And if you have winning records, there's always that chance if you win your division, if you're in the playoffs, you can, you know, there's that 2016 for the Cavaliers, you know, that one time that it comes to pass in Golden State where you can say, wow, I watched that game, man. That was amazing. That's what sports is all about. So if you got to get to the first step, you got to get to the playoffs first, and then maybe Lady Luck shines on you. But Dorsey shouldn't be judged by whether he wins the Super Bowl or not. It's bringing wins back to Cleveland. One last thing before I go, because, you know, I think Steve Everett, who was the center for the Cleveland Browns back when the Browns jettisoned Cleveland to go to Baltimore. Once again, let's take a moment of silence to urinate on Art Modell's grave. Ozzie Newsome was quoted on Twitter. Tony Grossi, who is, you know, an irritant, that would be the nice way of putting it. It's his job to be a gadfly on the radio. Ozzie Newsome, during an interview, told Grossi to give Dorsey a break. This is Ozzie Newsome's quote. Give the man, he's building a hell of a team, Grossi. We've been starving for this for years. Ozzie Newsome just retired as a great general manager of the Baltimore Ravens. And Ozzie Newsome knows to this day that there would be no Ravens, that he was the general manager of the Cleveland fucking Browns, the real Cleveland Browns, who the town got fucked over and they took away from us. Ozzie Newsome is like Steve Everett. You remember when Steve Everett went to play for the Ravens the year after? They were all Browns and then they were suddenly Ravens. And he took his helmet off and he had a do-rag on that was the Browns colors, and the league fined him because the team didn't exist anymore. Everett became my favorite player because he knew the truth and he wasn't going to bullshit anybody. There were no Ravens. Fuck you, Baltimore fans. Fuck you. Fuck you. Lamar Jackson, fuck you. Fuck all of you. Ravens. You know, no Ravens. No Ratbirds at all. Browns.
No.
Yeah. Ozzie Newsome, he's a Brown. And he refers to it as we. Make no mistake. And that is what we've been starving for. Finally, a chance to win, for God's sakes.
Yeah, and it feels a good feeling too.
Yeah, that's what we cheer for. This is why we're fans.
You know, 7 wins just this season alone is equaled up to almost nearly half of the wins Jimmy Haslam had since he started with the Browns. 20 wins accumulated, and then all of a sudden 7 wins alone in one season. That's damn near half. I like that.
Well, I mean, look, the number of points that Baker Mayfield averaged scoring was more times than Jimmy scored with D in their whole marriage.
Ouch.
Yeah, so there you have it. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning into this edition of Moohead Radio. We got a whole weekend ahead of us. I'm sure you're going to be watching the NCAA tournament. If I'm bored enough, I'll tune in just to see Duke, you know, so I can just make scathing remarks about Mike Krzyzewski and how much he looks like a Simpsons character. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back again Monday to talk more sports. Until then, hasta la vista, Pasture Heads. Good night.
Bro.